Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hi, this is Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, and we are back with a new episode. The New Warehouse Podcast, as you know, covers distribution, logistics, and transportation topics, and we've been a little distribution heavy, but we are going to be focusing on a logistics and transportation topic today. We're going to have a guest on the show. We're going to have Steven Reichert on the show, and he is the GM of Software as a Service platform for Cardinal Logistics Company. And Cardinal Logistics is a fleet company, a logistics company that has one of the largest and most diverse dedicated fleets in the U.S. So definitely some transportation knowledge there, as well as logistics knowledge too. And we're going to talk a little bit about Cardinal as a company, and we're going to talk about some continuous improvement that they've done as a company, and how that led to a partnership with a previous guest on the show, Zebra Technologies, as well. So, Steven, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and I guess what your role is at Cardinal and kind of how you got to that point in your career?
Absolutely. So I've been with Cardinal since 2010.
Okay.
Previous to that, I worked for Office Depot, and I actually started off with them working in distribution. So my experience levels up from inventory management to customer service to transportation, and then it branched off into technology.
Okay.
My last couple years at Office Depot was primarily focused on a mobile application that their drivers and drivers that they outsource used for deliveries. Eventually that project came to an end, and I started working at Cardinal, who had a customer that was looking for the same type of technology. At that time, Cardinal Logistics did not offer a SaaS platform. It was strictly a proprietary software that only Cardinal drivers used. So that was a transition, starting up the software as a service from scratch, and onboarding the first customer and getting things going.
Okay, really interesting. So you started kind of, I guess, inside the warehouse and then ended up outside the warehouse working in transportation and logistics, so kind of going in between warehouses. So why don't you tell us a little bit about
Correct.
Cardinal itself and what Cardinal does and I guess what kind of makes Cardinal unique and makes Cardinal what it is?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, Cardinal Logistics is one of the largest dedicated 3PLs in the nation. We also have a brokerage division and a transportation management service division.
Okay.
We operate in 200 locations across the U.S. And Puerto Rico.
All right.
And we manage a pool of over 3,600 drivers, along with over 800 non-driver employees that help with customer service.
All right, so very interesting to hear about Cardinal Logistics. And so now, Steven, I guess Cardinal Logistics has these 4 unique qualities as well that I saw on the website. And it's, I guess, 4 questions to ask a transportation management company is the way it's about. But I guess it's four pillars that Cardinal kind of operates as. So can you tell us what those 4 pillars are and then kind of speak to each one?
Sure. Those 4 pillars are culture, pricing, flawless implementation, and continuous improvement.
Okay.
And we look at these 4 pillars as what we would want our customers to ask other transportation companies when they're looking at outsourcing their private fleet or making a transition to start using Cardinal. Because we believe these 4 qualities are important to have in a transportation company. I'd like to first talk about culture, because culture, as you know, is important in every business.
Definitely.
It's really what defines the people working for that company. And for Cardinal, we're providing more than just trucks and trailers. For us, trucking is about people.
Mm-hmm.
And, we believe that creating transportation value is really not about trucks and trailers. It's our people and our commitment to service that set us apart. And that's really been what we were founded on, was our teamwork and our service and our dedication to our customers.
Now, let me ask you a question about the culture. So for transportation, obviously there's drivers involved. Now, how do you get the culture to, I guess, disseminate and get out to the drivers as well, since they aren't really in the office or anything like that, and they're not necessarily close to home base? How do you kind of include them in the culture, and how does that work?
It really starts with the training that we provide each of our drivers.
Okay.
And the majority of our drivers are actually home every night, or at least every weekend.
That's good.
So, a lot of people think about trucking and drivers being on the road for days on end before they're back home. But a majority of our drivers are back home every night. So the drivers are, local. They're able to meet with their management team, and we're able to make sure that they understand the culture and they feel involved in the business.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's an important thing for drivers to, just like you mentioned, the kind of the idea behind drivers is that they're always on the road and that type of thing. So the fact that you guys are able to get them either home at least every weekend or every night, I think that probably adds to your culture a lot too. And like you said, training is a huge part, I think, in any company, especially, transportation distribution, because that's really what sets the basis for the culture and how the employees are going to perform and respect the company as a whole and want to work for the company too. So thanks for pointing that out.
No problem. Our next area is pricing, which is important to all of our customers. We found that a lot of our competitors in this industry use a cookie-cutter pricing approach, whereas we've learned over time that every customer is different. Every pricing structure is different, and we customize our pricing for each customer, sometimes within different locations for the same customer.
Okay.
We really want to build on that partnership and get a good understanding of what is important to our customers and what their specific goals are, so that we can customize the pricing to meet their unique business needs.
And then what about the flawless implementation? I think that's something that's implementation and the word flawless, I think, don't always necessarily go together in people's heads, especially when talking about technology and putting in different type of systems and things like that. So how do you guys go about getting that flawless implementation?
Like you mentioned, flawless typically doesn't go together with implementation.
Unfortunately.
Our approach to try and make that happen is planning.
Okay.
We've been in this business for a long time, so we understand the plans from beginning to end to have that flawless implementation. So, our management staff is on site. They're learning the customer's business. They're learning their needs, and getting that understanding of exactly what they're looking for is what helps us have that flawless implementation. So we're not talking about some of our management staff being on site for just a week or two. This is typically planning that happens months ahead of the implementation, because we found that there's a lot of information that customers overlook or they forget to mention that's very important during an implementation, especially that first month starting out, learning different customers' delivery habits, things that their private fleet drivers would have knowledge of that maybe a new driver wouldn't. So we try to make sure that the knowledge is passed on, as well as the planning before the implementation starts.
That's really good, yeah, because a lot of times I think, people, they want to rush the implementation because they want to get the solution in place, but that sometimes can create more issues than potentially you had prior to the implementation. So it's really good that you guys take the time to properly plan it, and like you said, share the knowledge. I think that's a huge, huge thing because, like you said, you have some newer drivers, maybe some older drivers that have been there a long time, and you run into that kind of tribal knowledge where the people that have been there a long time, they know how to do something just because they've done it that way for so long, and somebody that comes in new and turns out there's no process documentation or anything like that. It's good that you guys are able to share that knowledge across the board and make sure that everybody's at the same level of understanding. And now, of course, implementation most times is usually a result of some type of continuous improvement, which is your fourth quality that you guys have. So why don't you talk a little bit about how you guys utilize continuous improvement and how that works for Cardinal?
Our vision of continuous improvement is looking beyond transportation with our customers. We implement our handheld technology, which helps us collect those data points that are important to our customers. And a lot of our customers, prior to the transition, didn't really have a good grasp of data being collected from their deliveries. So they really didn't have a good idea of how long a stop was actually taking, how long a driver was having to sit in the yard before he could, back up and make a delivery, how much freight maybe wasn't getting put on the trucks at the warehouse. So there's a lot of data points that we can collect that helps us with that continuous improvement. So we are constantly meeting with our customers and reviewing that data and making suggestions as to items that that we can work on together to help reduce their cost and also improve the transportation service to their customers.
Definitely. I think that's important, especially as the industry moves in such a high demand for a high level of service and quick delivery. It's really important to be able to zone in on those different data points and see how you can improve at those points. So you mentioned that utilizing the handheld. So you guys actually recently did a deal with, I guess, Zebra Technologies, where I guess some type of continuous improvement project led to putting these handhelds into all of your trucks. So why don't you tell us a little bit what kind of led to that being implemented and how that kind of benefits your company and improves the quality overall of what you guys deliver?
Our relationship with Zebra goes all the way back to their days of being Symbol.
Okay.
So Cardinal's had a long-lasting relationship with Zebra and all of the companies that was named in between that time, Symbol, Motorola, as they went through their transitions. So our continuous improvement with Zebra is really the change in the types of devices that we're providing our drivers. So, going back 5 years, 6 years ago, we're looking at Windows mobile devices and then making the transition to the Android operating system. And Zebra was one of the first companies to start providing Android on an enterprise system for a handheld device.
Okay.
The biggest difference for us is when it's enterprise, it gives us more functionality and more constraints on the device. So that way we can lock it down and make sure that the device is only being used for business needs.
All right, great. So how does the handheld, I guess that's how you're collecting a lot of the data that you're talking about before, but how does the handheld also help you guys to improve your service level and I guess make your receiving or shipping areas happier and more satisfied with what they're getting?
A lot of it really comes down to the data points that we were talking about earlier. Once we're able to start collecting that data and providing it to our customers, they love the results. So customers that may have not had any idea where their trucks were at during the day, now we're collecting those GPS signals. We're providing that information real time to our customers, and they're able to view that information on a portal and see exactly where all the trucks are at, if there's any type of exceptions on a particular stop, if there's items that were missing, they weren't scanned. So we're able to start providing that information to our customers, and that leads to additional continuous improvement because they're able to take that data and go back to their warehouses and their staff and say, look, you're either loading freight on the wrong truck or, stuff is missing from the truck. And, that really helps the entire process.
Definitely. I can see how that can help. And so now what about in terms of, are there any challenges with getting drivers to adopt the technology and start to utilize the handhelds? Because it is something that maybe some drivers were not using before. Were there any challenges there, and what kind of hurdles did you guys have to overcome?
Yes, I would say there's challenges anytime you bring technology into transportation. A lot of drivers aren't always comfortable with it. Definitely as the smartphone became more popular, that really helped with that adoption because drivers were already comfortable using their own smartphone, so they're used to a touch screen. They're used to that navigation.
Okay.
And, the technology really doesn't even stop with the handheld in the trucks now. There's a lot of additional technology that we keep adding to the trucks to improve safety, which is very important to us. So
definitely,
the drivers, some of them are reluctant, but they typically find that after they've used our application on a handheld device, they don't ever want to go back to paper. They find that the process is so much easier, it's so much faster, and afterwards they love it. They would never want to go back to paper.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I know, working in a distribution environment for many years, you see the drivers come in and they have the paper, they don't have the paper, they don't know what happened to the paper, or the paper looks like it's been traveling outside of the truck for however many miles they've been driving. So I'm sure, having just that one device that they can keep track of and have all that information with them can definitely make a big improvement. And once you get over that hurdle, I guess, of adoption, I can see how they can fall in love with it and never want to go back.
Yeah, so you have that experience watching drivers go through the whole routine with paper, and a lot of drivers come into work an hour early, just to sit down and sort paperwork, which is crazy. And like you mentioned, the paperwork comes back after a route, it's been rained on, it's dirty, it's got boot prints on it, and it doesn't look professional. So,
yeah,
reducing that paperwork, it makes everybody happy.
Definitely. And it's definitely a great thing to hear about how kind of the continuous improvement led into going towards that way, and hearing how it's been beneficial and improved and be able to collect that data. So, Steven, thanks so much for joining us on the New Warehouse podcast. How can people find out more about Cardinal Logistics?
They can go on our website. It's cardlog.com.
Okay.
And there's information about all of our dedicated resources, as well as our software as a service platform.
Okay, great. And we'll definitely post that website at thenewwarehouse.com. So, Steven, thank you so much for being on the show again. And we hope to hear some further insights from you in the future as well.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.